Hey everyone, we are back with a new episode. So, are you confused about on prem single node orchestrator installation? No worries. We have Vinod with us today to guide us through that whole process. Thank you so much for your time, Vinod. We are really happy to have you. Let's quickly jump into it. Over to Vinod.
Hello everyone, my name is Vinod. So today we will see the installation of UiPath Orchestrator as a single node instance. So here are the few steps which includes the orchestrator installation. First step is like setting up a Windows machine. So in this scenario, in order to set up Windows machines and SQL databases, we will be taking a AWS cloud service. So first of all, we need to log into the AWS. So aws.console.com. Log into AWS console. So to set up an AWS account, you need a credit card. So first 750 hours of your consumption, the machine consumption or any resource consumption is free of cost. So since you can see my email ID over here, we'll be giving my password. Shit. So it will redirect me to the AWS dashboard page. So these are the AWS offerings. These are the different services from the AWS. So in this, from this different kinds of services, for this setup, for the orchestrator single node instance setup, we need EC2 service. EC2 is nothing but Elastic Cloud Compute, so, which in a simple words, we can say this as an virtual machines. So for our installation, we need a virtual machine. So UiPath strictly requires a Windows machine. So we are going for a Windows machine, and we are selecting the configuration for our orchestrator machine. That is, I'm selecting one CPU and 2 GB memory. So if you are having a more number of bots, you can scale up your configuration as well accordingly. So since this is a demo, I'm selecting the minimum configuration. So these are the additional options which AWS will provide. So number of instances. So nothing but it's like number of copies of virtual machines you need to launch. Uh, Purchase options, just uncheck this one. So spot instances are nothing but you'll get it at low cost. So since you are going with the trial version, not necessary to check this out. So again, you will be getting a default VPC over here. Just select that one. And again, the default subnet, leave it as it is. So make sure that you are selecting the enabled here. So auto SN public IP means your machine will get an public IP automatically. So leave the other options as default as it is. So nothing to worry about. So next we are going to the storage options. So since this is only for a POC purpose, we can go with the 30 GB. That's enough. So the here it tagging means it's like something like comments. So who is the owner of the machine? So owner of the project or the machine. So owner email ID. So you can give your email. Next, configure security groups. So these security groups are nothing but a firewall to your virtual machines. So here I'm going to select leaving the defaults as it is. So create a new security group. I'm just changing the name of the security group. UiPath SG. So we are going to access the machine over a remote protocol. So that's the reason we are allowing 3389 port number outside. So source is nothing but from where are you trying to access this virtual machine. It can be anywhere, or it can be my IP. My IP in the sense it is nothing but my public IP. So for now I am leaving this as anywhere. So anyone can access from my machine. Okay. And then I'm launching the virtual machine. Yeah. So now here it is supposed to ask the keys. So I'm selecting here a earpath key since I have this. So if you don't have keys, okay, we'll go with the new key pair, uh, or hyphen demo. So download a key pair, and then so you can see here that the key pair has been downloaded, and then I'm clicking on launch instances. So if you go to your view instances page, you should be able to see your instance spinning up. So instant state is pending. Once the state has been changed to running, that means that your machine is up and running. So you can see over here that the public IP is automatically assigned. So also you can see some additional options in which security group you have launched this instance, in which VPC you have launched the instance, in which subnet you have launched the instance. Yeah. So by looking at this instance status, I can now confirm that my instance is up and running. Now we need to connect to this instance using this public IP. So if you are a Windows user, you can simply go to your start menu and then search for MSTSC, which shows up the remote desktop client window. So there you can give the username and password and the machine DNS name, nothing but this one. So now we will be trying to get the password. Okay, it is saying please wait at least 4 minutes after launching the instance before you retrieve auto-generated password. Okay, so we will wait for at least 4 minutes to get the password. In the meanwhile, we will set up our client as per the. So I am trying to connect it from my client. So if you are a Windows user, you should be able to connect from MSTSC, Microsoft Terminal Services kind of client solution. So here, simply copy this IP and paste it here, your server, and the username. Username is administrator. You can find it from here. And the password will be generated. So again, yeah. So in the mean, yeah, it got it. So it is asking us to upload the key file, which was just downloaded from the website. So we'll be browsing the web file and then decrypt. We will be decrypting that key file, and we will be getting a password. So this is the password to log into your machine. So we'll be changing this name to some demo. Save and connect. So everything is fine. It is accept. It is allowing us to connect. So connecting to Orc demo. Okay. So it's a my machine fault. So whatever the color, I mean, resolution it is there, it is not supporting. But you shouldn't see this error in your Microsoft client. Okay. So this is our connection. I need to edit this one. So instead high color 68. So if everything works right in a right manner, then you should be able to log into your machine. So here we can see that we will be scrolling the desktop side by side and up and down. So in order to get rid this of scrolling, we need to just change the resolution. So go with the custom resolution and make it as 1024 into 768. Okay, so this is our Windows machine. So in the prerequisites, I mean in the steps, so we will be marking this as done. So we are done with this first step. Okay, now the second step is setting up an SQL database, which our orchestrator requires. So for this purpose, we will be again going into the AWS console. So simply we'll be duplicating it to have a separate tab for databases. Okay, so to select a database, AWS has come up with a wide range of database services. So in that, RDS is one of the relational database systems. So we'll be selecting RDS over here. And then we'll be creating a new database. So we'll be going for standard creation. And then as a UiPath suggested, recommended, it is Microsoft server. So we'll be going with Express Edition and we'll be going with a free tier. So since it is only for a POC, I mean demo, so we'll be going with a free tier. So again, just renaming the database with database instance with easy name, UiPath database. So these are the credentials to log into the database. So instead of having auto-generated password by AWS, we'll be going with the predefined one, which makes me easy to remember and use it further in further steps. Yeah. So this is enough for us. I mean, currently for demo purpose. So again, this is asking for a general purpose SSD or a provisioned IOPS SSD. So for our demo, we will be going with the general purpose SSD. So again, the database size 20 GB is enough for now. So we don't want auto scaling option. So we'll be selecting the VPC. So it will be the default value. Just select as it is. And that's all. You can leave others as it is, and you can just proceed with the database creation. So here you can see the status of the database as creating. So once this is converted to the created or online, you are good to go with the installation in your orchestrator setup. Okay. In the meanwhile, okay. In the meanwhile, so in the process of setting up the database, we will set up the prerequisites for our UiPath orchestrator. So that is nothing but step 3. So marking it as done, step 2. Now we will proceed with the prerequisites for the UiPath orchestrator in our machine. This is our machine. So looking at the first prerequisite for our orchestrator, we need to install the UiPath rewrite module. Okay, we'll try with Firefox. Try downloading the Firefox. So download Firefox. So we'll see the progress of database. So it says still creating. Okay. Yeah. So this is installed. Firefox was installed, and we'll try to install the UiPath rewrite URL rewrite module. So similarly, it requires a IaaS hosting module. These links can be found in the video description. This is like hosting module where you can basically the .NET component. So since our orchestrator application was developed in .NET, it requires all these compilation engines and everything. So it is restarting the computer to reflect the installation changes. So I'm going to try to reconnect once again. So same, still the machine is restarting. That's the reason the connection is failed. So it still says creating. So this submission is back. We'll continue with the prerequisite, the hosting bundle. This is finished. So the .NET Core component was also installed. So simply clicking on close, and this is installed. Simply clicking on exit, and we are done with the prerequisites. I mean external prerequisites. Now coming to the internal prerequisites. So we need to go to Server Manager. And click add roles and features to add the IIS and its dependencies. Still collecting some of the dependencies. Yeah. So for this, UiPath has some prerequisites for IIS module. So UiPath has given up the list of dependencies, which can be found again in the video description, the dependencies link. Yeah. So I recommend you to go through the UiPath documentation before starting the installation. Okay, I'll try to open it in my browser itself. Okay, let's go to the IIS and then expand. You should be able to see all the options available under the main component web server. Yeah, if you see here, so expand web server and common HTTP features. So default document, HTTPS, and the static content are the first prerequisites. Common HTTP features. Default document, HTTPS. Default document, HTTPS, static content. Okay, we are good with this. And again, they didn't mention anything about the health and security. Health. Now they are talking about the security. So under the security, we need to select request filtering. Okay, request filtering, URL authorization, and Windows authentication. So these are the different modules which help you to contact your IIS with your application. So, and then again, application development, ASP.NET 4.5, and then similar version of your extensibility also. So in my case, they have mentioned it as 4.5, that is nothing but 4.5 over here, but select the greater version which you have. So currently I have a greater version of 4.7, and then go with a similar version of ASP.NET 4.7. Okay, and then application initialization, and SAP extensions and SAP filters. So SAP extensions and SAP filters. So the next one is WebSockets. So WebSockets is not available in your components. So now go for a WebSocket protocol. Okay. And proceed with installation. I mean next steps. So if your IIS is good and your installation is good enough, then you should be able to see this homepage. In the meanwhile, let us see the database part. So it says still creating. Okay, let us create one more database. I think this has selected one more additional option. So standard one, Microsoft free tier. UIPDB. Then the password DB instance. Enable storage auto scaling. We don't need this. Storage is enough. Connectivity is fine. So I think this is the reason it is taking much time for us to load the things. So I am not selecting all this one. So no maintenance window, create database. Okay, the first one we got into like available. We can see the status is available. Okay, we'll try to use the first one itself. If any issue comes with the first one, then we'll switch it to the second database. Yeah, this installation has been completed. Now, if I browse here, http localhost. So localhost is nothing but again our local machine, the which you are trying to access the machine. That machine name is known as a localhost. So our installation is good enough. We were able to see the home page, IIS homepage. So this is called IIS homepage. So now we will try to download the orchestra executable file. So this is our orchestrator executable file. So this orchestrator executable file can be, you can get it from a UiPath support team according to your environment versions. Let us say if you are using 19 version of environment, then you can get the orchestrator version accordingly. So we'll be downloading the platform installer.exe. So just double click on your platform installer. We'll close the remaining windows. Yeah. So click here to accept the license agreement. So we need to accept the license agreement, whether it can be trial or it can be community version or it can be like enterprise version. So since this is a single node installation, we'll be clicking on install single node option. So we'll see multi-node installations in the later part of this video series. Yes. So as you can see here, the website name is UiPath Orchestrator. We can leave this as it is, nothing to change over here. So installation path, again, it will be same across all the Windows installations. If you want to change it, you can change it. So host name, you can leave it as it is. Since my host name is the same one, so I'm not changing it anymore. So website port is a 443. So our UiPath Orchestrator application was developed to accept HTTPS request, HTTPS traffic. So that's the reason we should be having a 443 port number available on this machine. Okay. So what it will does is, if you check this port, the port availability option, just it will check whether another website is running with the 443 port or not. If it is running, then it will alert you. I mean, it will not proceed you with the installation. So SSL certificate. So this is a major thing over here where we need to select a self-signed certificate. So in our case, we need to go with the self-signed certificate. So if you are an enterprise customer, if you, we can go with the domain certificates or also trusted certificates as well. So trusted certificates are something which will be provided by GoDaddy or Verizon, some those kind of people. So those are like trusted across the globe, across all the internet services. So domain certificate is nothing but where it can be accessible only in your domain. That means in your enterprise. So since my machine is not connected to domain, I will be going with the self-signed certificate. So for the self-signed certificate, what we need to do is just open IIS. You will be able to see this control, this console, IIS console. This is nothing but IIS console. And then you need to go to SSL certificates. So sorry, server certificates. So here you can see the options: create a domain certificate, create a self-signed certificate. If you create a domain certificate, then this is valid across your domain computers. So if this is a self-signed certificate, then you should be explicitly copying this SSL certificate into your robot machines. So whereas in domain certificates case, no need to copy your certificate. So simply have given a machine name and then simply clicked on OK. My certificate is ready. Now we need to click on next. Okay, we'll go with the application pool identity. So where all my connections will run under a single pool. So here the database configuration. So let us copy the database endpoint. So this is my database endpoint. So since we are installing, having a database in AWS, we got this kind of endpoint. So if you are having on-prem, so can also consider this as an on-prem because we went to the virtual machine in the AWS cloud. So the endpoint might look different, but endpoint concept is the same wherever we go. So if it is on-prem or cloud or Azure App Service or AWS App Service, so the endpoint concept is same. So just paste it database. We don't have any database currently, and we need to create one. So for that reason, we'll be downloading SSMS to create a database. So again, creating a database not necessarily being done from this machine. So you can have so if you have another instance having SSMS, you can simply connect to that instance to the database, and you can create the database. So we'll be installing the SSMS. So it will take a couple of minutes to install the SSMS. Yeah, the installation was successfully completed, and we'll try to log into our database. So once the database has been set up and the user which we are using here has the right permission on this, then we are good to go with the setup, UiPath setup. So we'll be logging with sorry, here it should be SQL authentication. And we know while setting up the database, we have given admin and the password. Yes. So we logged into database. So we see there is a database which was created by the AWS. So we don't use this database, and we will be creating our orchestrator. Okay. Let us say ArcDB is our database, is our required database. And we need to select the owner. So as we know, admin is the user. So we'll simply click on browse and then select admin over here, and then simply click on OK. So we are able to see the database over here. Okay. Now we will proceed with our installation. So our database name is ArcDB. Username is admin, and we provided the password at the time of installation, which the password we used while logging into the database as well. So if everything is correct, I mean, we if we are able to log into database, then it should simply proceed with the next steps, or else it should give up an error. Okay, this is again identity server. Its settings are same. So Elasticsearch. So now we are not going to set up any Elasticsearch application. So basically Elasticsearch will be used for logging purposes. So this is an efficient solution to view your logs with in a different dashboards manner, pie charts, bar charts, in such a way. So we are not setting up this. We will be considering to next. So again, these are the orchestrator host settings, host tenant login settings. So where we need to just provide the use password for the host logins. So again, we'll be going with some random password. So if you select the reset at first login, then it will prompt you to change the password in the first login itself. So if you enable the Windows authentication, this option, the last one, enable Windows authentication. So you will be able to log into your orchestrator from your Windows credentials with the help of your Windows credentials. So we are not looking for any insights solution or test automation solutions. So we are proceeding with the next. So after installation, if you require insights and test automation, you can simply go to your control panel and then you can change your installation. So in that way also you can install the insights and test automation as well. So this is just propagating the values which you have selected earlier. So all looks good to me. So we'll be proceeding with the installation. So if everything, the prerequisites are satisfied, then we will be not getting any pop-up over here. If not, the setup will be popping out errors with some module is missed, some dependency is missed. So here you can see the version of UiPath Orchestrator which we are installing is 20.4.2. So that's the reason we were able to give the host tenant password in the setup itself. In the earlier installations like 2019, 2018, so there are some default credentials which will be helping us to log in directly into the orchestrator. So if my UiPath setup is connecting to database in a right way, then it should populate tables. So since here we cannot see any tables over here, so let us wait for a few more minutes. So now you are able to see the tables over here. So our installation is correct. I mean, our database connection is correct. Whatever the username and password are correct. So if the installation has completed successfully, then we should be able to see the login page, the orchestrator login page we were seeing currently on a cloud orchestrator platform.uipath.com or cloud.uipath.com. So that login page we should be able to see. So now it is configuring the IIS. IIS is nothing but your website, the actual website which talks to your web application, orchestrator web application. So let us go to the installed folder. That is nothing but C program files x86. So if you go here, then we'll be able to see UiPath and then the UiPath orchestrator. And this is where our actual orchestrator application was installed. And all the settings related to your orchestrator resides in this web.config. Settings can be like the logs, the log destination where you want to push the logs to database or the Elasticsearch, and which kind of authentication you have enabled for your orchestrator. That can be Okta authentication or Windows Active Directory kind of authentication. And your rules, I mean, let us your robot rules, I mean, your license. So how many times you should get notified about your licenses, and the jobs failure emails to your email. So all such kind of configurations can be found in web.config file. Yes, our installation was successful, and now you are able to see uninstall. Uninstall means you are simply again uninstalling your orchestrator. So change to single node and change to multi-node. So these are like additional options, like we are changing the existing setup to single node or a multi-node. So we'll be not doing anything over there. We'll simply closing the setup and just try to browse the UiPath orchestrator page. So we are browsing the application from the installed machine itself. So my machine name is, so or else you can simply go to the IIS and then the UiPath orchestrator. Simply click on it. You should be able to see browse website. So once if you click on this, then we'll be getting the browser options which to select. So since we are using a self-signed certificate, we are seeing this window instead of direct login page. So simply click on accept the risk and continue. If everything works as usual, then we should be able to see the login page. Since this is the initial setup, it is taking more time to load. In the meanwhile, let us see the status of our application pool, whether it is stopped or in a running state. Yeah, so it is still in a running state. So nothing went wrong in application pools. And even my site is in running, my website is in running state. Yeah, so we got the login page. So at the time of UiPath setup, we have given the default password. So we need to use that password to log in the default tenant. Okay. So this password is nothing but this password we gave while setting up the orchestrator. Yeah. So we are now successfully logged into the orchestrator. So next steps would be like activating your license. I mean, activating your license and uploading the license into the orchestrator and activating your bots and connecting to this. And so uh, so UiPath 2020 version has come up with the online activation, the orchestrator part. So you can activate it through online. Yeah, simply provide the license key over here. It will simply activate it. So if your machine doesn't have internet connection, then you can also do an offline activation by providing a TXT file, which will be generating on UiPath activation portal, license activation portal. So if you say, do you have a valid license file? Yes. Then if you click on next, then we'll be asking a TXT file, which was generated from a UiPath activation portal. So just browse that and upload it. You should be seeing your number of, robots and studios and other components which are activated according to your requirement on your license. So this is all about the orchestrator installation as a single node. So if you want to log into the host tenant, simply change it to host admin. And again, this password is we have given while setting up the orchestrator. So we have a default passwords only till 2019 version of orchestrator, but 2020 onwards they have given us the uh, option to set up all these passwords at the installation time itself. So this is the host one, host tenant, where you can create the number of tenants, how many you require. You can allocate the license from here itself, from this host tenant itself, and that's all. That's all about the UiPath orchestrator installation as an on-prem. That is nothing but a virtual machine or a physical machine. It will be look almost like a similar one. So the major differences while installing is like if you install it on Azure App Service, then there would be a major differentiations. And if I open the web.config file, you should be able to see all the settings for your required logging and authentication. So if you get any error while installing the orchestrator, just enable the option to detailed HTTP. Yes. So this this tag, the HTTP errors tag, error mode, instead of having a custom, just change it to detailed and close, save this and close this. Go to your IIS and simply restart your website. Restart nothing but just click on this option, which will restart your UiPath orchestrator, and then will provide you the detailed logging of your error message, which will helps you debug it further about the error. That's all about the installation. To connect to the just created machine, the AWS machine, just simply select your instance over here and then click on connect. And then download remote desktop file. Simply click on this button. Now you should be able to see a RDP file getting downloaded over here. Simply click on this. Now it will try to connect it to your AWS instance. So here you should provide a password which will be generated by this option. So just simply copy this password and paste it over here. If you still have any doubts, you can comment below. We will get in touch with you.